Honestly, lovely lyrics, message ideal for the day, for the situation. Bob Nasta Mali. Yes, who the cap fits, let him wear it. Absolutely, that's what we are in search of. That's what we'll be talking again this morning. Yes, last week we were in the Ogun East senatorial zone talking about why and what should happen, why they should be the one to produce the governor in 2019. We then switch over to the West Central Zone, whose desire, the call, has been high. They also want to produce the governor. In actual fact, they want it handed over to them. Well, let me say amicably, with a resolute position that he should be Ogun West and no other person. Ogun Central, should they actually be taken away completely from it? 1999 till date, you say in 2019 they will have done 12 years. Okay, so should that automatically rule them out? Or just like Bob Marley just said, who the cap fit, let him wear it. Dele Ayodo is my name, welcoming you to the Daybreak Show, Citizens Forum, Rock City 101.9 FM. Yes, yes, and yes, this is the voice of the people.
I am Toby Joseph. Just like I mentioned earlier this morning, it's going to be the third leg of the discussion. We started, just like Dele said, from the east, and then we moved to the west, and now we are looking at the central. It's about 2019 governorship election in Ogun State, a case for Ogun Central. I'll take you back to the statement credited to Mr. Governor last year, where he was talking about who actually should get the ticket, talking about the 2019 governorship election. He said that he would not support any candidate from Ogun Central. He will not canvass for, and he will not even campaign for anybody that comes from Ogun Central.
So in actual fact, he said, I will oppose.
Oppose.
He said,
that is the word.
Yes, he said,
Oppose.
I will oppose. He said, my people, I'm not taking you for granted. God knows that I'm not taking you for granted. But if anybody comes out from Ogun Central to campaign, I will oppose.
But of course, you know what he said about Ogun West. So he said he will canvass for, he will campaign for, and he will support. But Ogun East, I will not campaign against, but I will not campaign for. Well, a lot of things have been said about those statements anyway, but let us focus on Central, which we brought to the front burner this morning. Is it true that Ogun Central should be ruled out totally from the equation, going by the fact that demographics of the votes always points to the fact that Central is always the decider, always the deciding factor when it comes to who gets what or who gets into Okemoson in any governorship election? Are there no competent people in Ogun Central that can actually rock the boat or actually get that position because of the infighting that could come up in the parties, and of course the sharing of votes that will happen in the senatorial district that we've discussed earlier, talking about Ogun West, in case of aspirants and candidates failing to, queue behind a consensus candidate, and also, go east, whereby sharing or splitting of votes could also happen. Can a central candidate actually get that seat? Well, that's what we'll be looking at this morning. We'll be looking at the pros and the cons, and we have someone very qualified to look at this issue joining us in the studio this morning. I'm talking of Mr. Segun Sowunmi. Is a friend of the house, of course, a former special advisor to the governor here in Ogun State, former DG of the presidential campaign also in Ogun State, a top politician in his own right. I'm sure you should be able to discuss this. You're welcome once again, Mr. Segun Sowunmi.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, viewers, listeners.
All right, Segun Sowunmi.
Yes.
The fact on ground is that nobody has ever won the governorship or can win governorship election if you lose for local government, if you lose Obafemi Owode local government, and then the metropolis of Bekuta, which are all in the central senatorial zone of the state. With this electoral value might, should Ogun State, should the central be shut out of it from this little facts. Okay.
Well, thank you very much. This is very interesting. You see, I'll start by first of all saying that where the governor will come from and who will succeed in becoming a governor is premised on a few things. One of them is obviously that which we all believe here, which is God Almighty and luck. The second one is that you need to come up.
It's luck part of it.
You see, I will explain why luck is part of it, and because you have to trap God and everything that the divinity represents also to be some kind of luck. Because why should God favor one person? It's a very deep topic. Let's leave that. The other one is that every man may get up from his house considering themselves prepared and then presenting himself in an aspirational level. That's just an aspiration. You still need to go through the rudiments of a political party and the primaries of a political party to become a candidate. Therefore, the first leg is the parties themselves. Now, for the parties, if you go back to 1999, you will discover that for the purpose of argument, let us say there are two political tendencies along the parties. I will gather all the progressives, AD, AC, ACN, APC, and borrow them the title progressive, because there's nothing exactly progressive in the way they've been handling things. And then I will carry the PDP, which has never changed its name, and I will call them, I beg their pardon, I'll call them the conservative, just so that we can differentiate. It doesn't mean there are no progressive in PDP, and it does not mean there are no conservatives in the APC, but so we can differentiate. In 1999, the progressive picked their governor from Ogun Central, Oshoba. The conservative, the PDP, tried to pick from the Ogun East, which is what's his name now, Jibril Martin Square. When we got to that election, Oshoba won. In 2003, the conservative, this is the PDP now, they retained their love for Ogun East and they picked Daniel the King. What did the conservative do? They stayed in Ogun Central. In 2011, when Daniel has done his 2 times, just to speed up the conversation, the conservative felt very strongly that this cannot be right. There must be equity, fairness, and justice, and try to canvass heavily that let us all go in the direction of Ogun West, since they have never produced governor. What did the so-called progressive do? The progressive picked their candidate from Ogun Central and he won. In 2015, again, notwithstanding the fact that the conservatives, that's the PDP now, we saw that we always know that Ogun Central is key and important. We still insisted that no, for equity, justice, and fairness, let us go to Ogun West, and we picked a candidate from Ogun West. What did the so-called progressive, what did they do? They stayed with their candidate in Ogun Central. Ogun Central won. Now we're now back to projection towards 2019. First question is, why do you think that political parties all sit down together in one meeting and then say, oh, there's going to be a universal zoning arrangement that all political parties will respect? That's not true. Every political party is going to look at the situation on ground, is going to look at where it thinks it can get the best votes, is going to look at the personality that it wants to present forward and how they think it's marketable, and is going to basically hedge a bet for one candidate. So for PDP, for example, now, the burden of going to Ogun West is not very high on our mind because we have gone there twice, back to back, and we didn't win. Not only did we not win, we did not even win the senatorial seat of that area, to suggest that the people of that area, recognize that we were trying so hard to push the governorship to them. They still gave their senatorial ticket to the people who did not pick their sons. Now, in 2019, PDP will look at it, will imagine, okay, what's going on in Ogun East. We'll look at Ogun West if there are potential candidates that are coming in and showing interest. And more than anything else, there is also a very strong argument to push that PDP should go for Ogun Central. And I'll tell you what the argument is. It's not a fair
argument. Can you repeat that?
There is a very strong argument why PDP can insist that it can go to Ogun Central. It's not a very moral argument, but it's a strong argument. And what is that argument? The argument is that the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria since 1999 has never once zoned its governorship to Ogun Central. So if you have 6 local government, the kinds of local government you have in Ogun Central, you then begin to ask, are the Ogun Central members of the PDP supposed to constantly sit down in a political party where they will never be considered for governor? So that's one argument. But you know what? The PDP has demonstrated over the years, in spite of all its mistakes, it has demonstrated over the year that it means to do well. For instance, I'm not sure that that argument is strong on PDP for now. Everybody in the PDP, they're kind of like thinking, okay, if we're not going to Ogun East, they probably will be thinking about Ogun. In fact, I can almost say that it's looking as if the entire PDP body language is going Ogun East. And that is because they've not gone to Ogun East for some time. The only reason why they are jumping over Ogun Central is because they are also thinking that Shebi Ogun Central has done it for 12 years. But if equity within political parties, which in the first instance is a coming together of people to come and seek a platform with which to challenge for power so that they can do good for the people, Ogun Central people can ask them that, listen, gentlemen, are we going to be part of a party that will constantly not be considered? That's them. Then on the Ogun East agenda, you see, with the greatest respect to our brothers and sisters of Ogun East, they are the Ogun West. They are the ones that must really let us relax on this Ogun West, Ogun West, Ogun East. Ogun. You know why? Because that heightened conversation continually around where the man comes from is robbing us of one major thing, which is that the quality of the person that will come and govern.
Yeah, are you saying there's no quality?
No. I'm not saying there are no quality men in any of the senatorial district. But I'm saying that we have allowed the sectional or where the man comes from argument to overshadow other things. And you know what? And you know how that is now affecting Ogun West? The way it's affecting Ogun West is that if you look at the people that want to be governor in Ogun West now, if you go to the street and take a sample of opinion, you can tell the ones that the Ogun people considered equitable, ready, and probably well prepared. They may be guessing. And you will see that somehow Ogun West now is now caught in a situation where maybe the man that they think can do the job is not loved by this person or may not get it in his party. The one that the party is pushing forward may not be exactly well penetrated or may not have the marketability. All of those issues. If we step down the conversation a little bit and said, okay, fine, we know in our minds that Ogun West should get governor, but let our greater concern be a quality material that can take the governance of Ogun State forward.
You have been talking of equity, and I suppose that morality is the first major characteristics of an equitable society. So if this is so, then why should everybody not completely hand it over to the West?
Yeah, because when we yes, thank you.
Because even the attempts of the PDP to give it to them has not cheated them.
No.
It's like they have not done it.
No. It is true that it will be morally interesting to the mind of anybody to say that let all the parties do what they did in Nigeria in 1999, where both parties said they're going to go and give it to Obasanjo. There was still a candidate, Buhari, who came from the north. There was still one northern candidate. I think there were AP, there was AG, and there was PDP. One APP did not give its presidential candidate to serve. What am I trying to say to you? Political parties, that's where we're still sitting. They are going to always sit down and look at where is the best place for us to go. For instance, now if you come to PDP and you come and tell us that it's the time of the Iwa people, go and give it to them. It will be a very difficult time for our leaders because our leaders have gone there twice. Daniel was the first president to start screaming on top of his voice, we must do equity, we must do it. He has not even recovered from that process. Then again, we came in 2015, Kashama and the other drivers gave it to Ogun West. I'm sure some of them too, they are still suffering some blood.
It is the result that shows the quality of the race.
No. They cannot be the result that shows. Let me tell you what would have been easy and maybe exciting for us in PDP to go to Ogun West. Assuming on the two occasions that we gave them the senator, we gave them the governorship ticket, even if they didn't pull in all the votes for governor, if they had rewarded our party, who kept standing with them with a senatorial candidates, because we produced senatorial candidates there too, but they didn't give us. It didn't matter to them that one party had given them or given their son ticket. They went to the party.
When PDP has produced senatorial candidate from the West. Anishlo
She's not a PDP.
She won on the ticket of PDP before she crossed over. Kola Bajomo won on the ticket of the PDP.
No,
So,
yeah, what I'm saying to you is that
Ogun West.
I'm saying as at the time we gave the Ogun West governorship candidate, we gave them governorship candidate in 2011.
Yes.
They did not give us the senatorial.
Okay.
We gave them governorship candidate in 2015. We still did not win in that senatorial. It would have been a different thing if we had won. If we had won the Senate in Ogun West in 2015, then we could have gone to our leaders and be persuading them that slowly but gradually this thing is looking rosy. Let's try it one more time. Do you know what it cost in terms of the overall logistics and all that goes into pushing a candidate and an ambition in one particular section, especially when you can do the dynamics, the demographic, beg your pardon. And if you remove Ayodo from the equation in Ogun West, you will find out that you are going to be struggling to match up the numbers in Ogun Central and probably in some locations in Ogun like Shagamu and Ijebu. So what am I saying in essence? I'm saying that APC can go and put their governorship candidate anywhere it suits them, anywhere they wish to put it. They can use whatever parameter to determine who their governorship candidates will be. But the PDP, we have demonstrated the capability to be fair and equitable
now,
over time.
You are from the Central.
Yes.
Of course, I just highlighted the voting strength
Yes.
of the Central, which no politician will underlook or
Yes.
undermine. Which part of the other side should they give their votes to, West or East?
No, the Ogun Central is now sitting in a very pretty, beautiful bride situation. We are the beautiful bride of the 2019 election. We cannot discountenance the body languages of our political gladiators here, including, His Excellency Governor is one of the political gladiators in Central. Ambassador is one of the political gladiators. There are a few political gladiators here. From the body language of our political gladiators, it seems to be that they want to beg us in Ogun Central to use our votes to help bring a particular section of the state back into power, so that we don't go and start giving it to our son maybe in another party. Okay, fine, that's a good argument, and we also believe in it because we are fair people, we are fair-minded people, we've demonstrated it. But the issue now is that Ogun East and Ogun West will have to stop this bickering among themselves and come and look for votes and endorsement in Ogun Central. The one who gets endorsement from the majority of us in Central will carry the day. Politics, as fluid as it looks, is also a little bit structured. If your candidate will not come out of his house to come and meet us, to come and speak to us, so that we can then assure our people that don't worry, all will be well, then how are you going to get the vote? So in the final analysis, what you will see happen is that let us even wait and see who will be put forward. Aspiration is different from candidacy. When the candidates emerge, our hope and prayer is that quality materials will emerge, and based on their antecedents and maybe some speculative capacity that we may think they have, then we can then go to the field and start looking for votes. But in driving the narrative towards an Ogun West for governor, Ogun West, the elders and leaders and political players at different strata of the runs will have to come and lobby. And you know what? Ogun East is not undeserving. It is a little bit painful. The only time Ogun East, it depends on, they will tell you that the Jebu proper and the Remo is also a dichotomy there, but I think we have...
That argument, is it not wide? Is it not cantankerous?
I think we have gotten away, we have gone past that. Those of them who like to remind us of the provincial arrangement of Province A and Province B, they seem to want to be giving us the impression that history is a prison. History is not a prison. History is just a record of events that happened then, which may or may not have any impact on what's going to happen now, what's going to happen in the future. What is on the table now is that we run senatorial districts. It's even in the whole country. There's no state in Nigeria that has more than 3. It's not like federal constituencies. We are equally divided in Nigeria into 3 senatorial districts.
Sorry, Segun Sowunmi. There are people who are of the opinion that the Central pushing any candidate forward is only going to be a spoiler game for 2019.
We can win if we do it. I'll tell you how we win.
How? Let us look at
okay, very simple.
demographic of the vote.
Very simple. If the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, for argument's sake, or even the APC at that, if they will get up tomorrow morning and say, this is Mr. Lagbaja, a competent and capable Ogun Central man that they want to present as their candidate, 5 minutes after they present him, we'll start running riot all through our areas, begging our people that they should not allow their son to be disgraced. We will be sure of Abeokuta South, Abeokuta North, Ifo, Obafemi Owode, Odeda, and a substantial part of Ado daughter. If you have those 6 in the bag, you will be looking for a little bit in Shagamu, and we may go and pick our deputy from one of the Jebus, and that's it. The governor is in the bag. We can go and take the votes over and over again. In 1999, Ogun Central delivered their votes en bloc. The beauty of Ogun Central is that Ogun Central hardly splits up their votes. Once they make up their mind that they are backing Oshoba, they backed him en bloc. Even though Oshoba was their son, when they made up their mind that they are backing Daniel, they backed him en bloc. Even though Daniel was a sitting governor, when they made up their mind again that our son Amusu were backing, they backed him en bloc. Even in 2015, when everybody would have thought that the election would be closed and maybe they backed him en bloc. So there is a voting pattern that we see here. Ogun Central usually puts their votes en bloc.
Now, going by your analysis, you're saying that the game changer might be proposing that the deputy governor should come from Ogun East and Ijebu, to be precise. Are you of the opinion that the Ijebus would forego producing a governor that seemed to be better, that seemed to be surer, and then settling for a deputy governorship seat?
I have not advocated this. You have only told me to paint a scenario,
Okay.
and I have painted a scenario. I'm not advocating this. Equity should happen, please. The thing is that when a governorship, you see, when a governorship candidate emerges in the horizon, one of the beautiful things that those are the people who are going to eventually drive the process know is that a governorship candidate from his house, from his bedroom, resembles a governor. You will just see the guy, you will just know that this guy can win. No? And that's what happened. When Oshoba came, it was clear he could win. When Daniel came, it was clear he could win. Don't be deceived. When Amosu came in 2011, even from 2007, Amosu had become an issue, and it's still an issue now. He won. So if we are going to get a governor, if you come from, I don't want to pick their candidates for them. I don't want to be the one that will say this is the candidate. Who am I? But the thing is, if a governorship candidate from the smallest local government in Ogun State were to come onto the table, if you package him well and he's looking like, you will see that a good number of the people will follow him. But the great thing that needs to be added to all this is that parties are the ones that are empowered to bring candidates. Before you become the candidate of a political party, all you are doing is aspiration. And your aspiration is as personal to you as it is to how you drive it. But when you become the candidate of either of the party, or if we are lucky in Ogun State, maybe another top force can come on the table, which to my mind, the time is not on our side and people are really very strong on their opinion. So it's going to be a straight fight between PDP and APC.
Okay. Now, because what we are doing now is postulation.
Yes.
And the fact, it's often agreed that in Nigerian politics, nothing is impossible.
Absolutely.
And 24 hours
is a very long time.
Long of days. So, as it stands today,
yes,
already we are seeing movements. Like you said, we've seen body languages from people who wants to back, who wants to be godfather of all these things. But Ogun Central appear to have given up.
No. Ogun Central, let me tell you.
We just finished a 2-term, so don't let us bother us.
I also alluded to the fact that in Ogun Central, we like to at least be fair. Especially, the reason why you're not even having that conversation so heated up is because the PDP again is being responsible. If the PDP were to wake up tomorrow morning and say, listen, since 1999, we have never given an Ogun Central man ticket. Please, we are going to give them ticket. Now, after all, we've given an Ijebu, we've given Ogun East ticket, we've given Ogun West ticket. If PDP were to start to give that body language, there are numerous fantastic gubernatorial materials from Ogun Central who will quickly take up. But you see, we are more sophisticated than that. We know that our man or our senior brother or our governor, the governor of Ogun State, is from here. And we know that he's just about finishing 2 terms. So we're not exactly insisting that we want to make our state become like all of those other areas where they have problems 24 hours and then become a super race that will be hated by everybody. We don't want to become the House of Fulani of Ogun State. No, we want equity to take place. So we are seated now. All of us are putting our hands behind our back. We are watching the grain. We are seeing the field. It is the fellows from the two other senatorial districts who must know that Ogun Central will determine who gets it.
Now,
whenever we throw our hat, they can go to bed. That person
let's look at another possibility. You've talked about two major parties which
yes.
fight on ground.
Yes.
Now, in the event of, or are we not saying, don't you have a possibility of a third party that could just sweep away these two, like it happened with Mimiko and the Labour Party in Ondo State?
Nothing is impossible, for it is ultimately Vox Populi, Vox there. The voice of the people and the voice of God, they always come together. But from experience, for you to be able to create a third force, go and look at all the places where it was created. Substantial momentum will have to come behind.
That's why I asked the question, because as it is now, it's like there won't be an agreement, there won't be a meeting point between the East and the West, and then the several other big candidates that are in those two parties, PDP and APC.
Well, let me first of all, and I'm a politician myself too, and I have aspirations of my own. It is a very improper, not so well thought out point of view to insist that if you don't get a ticket in your party, the very next thing is for you to jump ship. It's very improper. The reason is that, you see, ultimately we are going to weaken the democratic institution. Since 2007, I'd always known that.
But if Mimiko didn't do that, it wouldn't have been.
It would not have mattered. Okay, he did that and went to Labour. Could it not have been more honorable to stay in that is Labour and build it? Maybe by now, Labour would have been the top force. You saw him again jump from that Labour, jump back to
Labour. Because he was pushed out.
Nobody is pushing anybody. You see, you have to be resolute in your own mind. I have always known that the way my mind works, I see a lot of attractive things in the progressive. I see a lot. If I'm to count my role, the people that are idolized, they are more in that APC. But I always tell myself, if I carry myself again and go and join them, am I not going to be depleting the ranks of even the opposition? It's not easy being in opposition. There's no money, there's nothing. You're going to be, struggling and looking for ways to manage not just yourself, but your followers. But the truth of the matter is that all the countries we see in the world, I can take you through many of them, except for the absolute dictatorships, which are almost tending to be socialist. All of them have two strong parties. I am an advocate of let us have two strong parties. So if one party seems not to be meeting the aspiration of the people can en masse reward the other one if they have shown themselves to be ready and prepared. But if you have all this splinter, and every 4 years you want to bring another color, every 4 years you need another name, every 4 years you need another realignment.
So you prefer a protest vote, like we say.
It is always better.
You
see, the electorate are far more than the politicians. How many, the registers of all the political parties, how many people are there? It's one of the weaknesses of the system that good people are not finding it in their heart to just go and join political parties. Because when you don't join, even from the recruiting and the primaries and the selection and the sieving processes, you are already voting. The final one we do with INEC is just the one we tell the people to do. A substantial amount of that has been done before them. We would have decided who the governors would be. Probably would have decided who the deputy governor would be. We may have decided all the 3 senators. We would have decided all the 9 House of Reps. We would have decided all the 26 House of Assembly. All of those candidates would have been decided. And most of you quality men and women out there will not participate in that. And by the time we come to you, we are probably coming to you with a devil's alternative between the deep blue sea and the Red Sea. Where is there to go? So until we all begin to see that it's not a comfortable thing to join because you are carrying some of their body, but we have to join. We have to be interested in how parties are formed. We have to infuse more ideology. If there are only 10 of you who are thinking about ideology in the midst of 100 who can be bothered, you are going to always lose. So the more people that are interested in ideology join parties, the better will be. But having said all of this, political parties are structured in such a way for now to be election winning or election contesting platforms. Therefore, no political party can take its eyes off the ball, because that one day of let's go and vote for governor, it can translate into 8 years or 4 years of being outside it. So it's a difficult thing for us to say, oh, they picked okay, let me give you a scenario now. If the APC, for example, were to go and pick a candidate from Ogun West that is not very strong, and we think, okay, this is their candidate they pick. The both parties know what's happening in both parties, and they pick one candidate, and we think that this party is not strong. We would then ask ourselves as PDP, what should we do? What should be our response? Where should we go? Okay, we decide that let's go to Ijebu and go and pick a candidate that is strong, and then all of us come and struggle for votes in Ogun Central. That can be one strategy. We can also say, no, we cannot be talking equity now. We have been out of power. This whole thing is just a mess. We want to revert back. Those decisions, where those decisions are taking place is with the parties and the leadership hierarchy. And I'm telling you something, there is no quality man that has ever entered the political party that has not been given the opportunity to participate. The only problem is that if the number of quality people are too few, they won't have a significant voice there. So I'm advocating, especially with all we are seeing in our country now, that no one party or no one person, no one man can claim to be the Messiah of our country, because they have tried the Messiah trick. Change, and everybody knows what's going on now.
Okay, show me. Let me take you back to the argument for, for Ogun West. Now, it's almost as if we're going to have a deja vu moment in 2019. Going by the fact that many aspirants are currently jostling for the tickets of the parties in Ogun West.
Which parties? Of one party?
Of one party?
Yes, no, but who's jostling for Ogun West ticket for PDP? All of them are jostling from APC. They want to be anointed by the governor, no more, no less.
Is Boyega Nasirisiaka a member of the APC?
Boyega Nasirisiaka, my friend, my man. Boyega is a member of the PDP, I believe.
Okay. He's a member of the PDP.
Yes.
So that means it's jostling under the PDP, or are you suspecting something else?
Well,
or maybe you have an information you want to
share. No. See, let me explain. Boyega Nasirisiaka, if we considered him good material in 2011 and 2015, nothing has changed in his life for us to now say he's not a good material. It will be hypocritical to say so.
And he has never said he's
Boyega Nasirisiaka is a good material. You can take that endorsement cheap. You can have it for free. I've taken that. But what I am saying, I'll pay. No, I'm not canvassing for it. But what I'm saying is that, having said that, the dynamics of how parties choose their candidate is where I'm going to.
No, let me take you back to where I started from. Now, when I talked about deja vu, it's a situation whereby candidates form, let's say they're not emerged candidates, from the Ogun West Senatorial District, running for the same position and seats against each other. Just like we had...
Like having the two parties?
Yes. Just like we had General Tujolori running on the platform of the PDP in 2011, and then Boyega Nasirisiaka run on the platform of the PPN in the 2011 election, where the two so-called heavyweights from the Ogun West just succeeded in splitting the vote for the West, dimming the chances of that zone, and at the same time allowing a central candidate to come in.
Do you know why I said that? That kind of deja vu is what should purge them of this phantasmagoria of thinking that there's going to be a third force. Had Boyega Nasirisiaka and Olorin appeared from APC or ACN as they were called then, and PDP, one of them would have won. What happened in 2011 was that the so-called, those who wanted to do for equity, they split their own vote. That had nothing to do with the other alternative political party, the ACN. So if now the APC too makes the fundamental and grievous mistake of allowing the people that are jostling under their own banner to split into one group and another, all of them going to fly the flag, they can kiss it goodbye. Because unless, of course, PDP now gives an Ogun West citizen candidate. You know, if PDP gives Ogun West, APC gives Ogun West, maybe the potential top for maybe Labour, whatever, gives Ogun West, we have already done a fait accompli. That would then mean that everybody will now be looking at which one do they prefer among all the three Ogun West candidates. But it's not going to work like that. It didn't work like that in 2011. It's more than likely not going to work like that in 2019.
Segun, that's why I asked, and I'm going to ask again.
Yes.
The emergence of another political party that can swing this or maybe balance it, like we had PPN, events that led to the emergence of PPN in 2011, like that. Is that not what we are driving to with events today?
Again, I will repeat again, so that we are not confused and we don't confuse our listeners. It is the people themselves, the electorate, and I hope they are all going to go and get their voters card, because that's what's on the table now. It is the people themselves that are going to take their fingers and thumbprint and vote for the candidate they desire. And they have the ability and the right to pick any candidate wherever the candidate may have emerged from. But as someone on the field and with practical knowledge of how these things play out, for you to be able to get it, let me tell you how you can get a third force, if you want me to say, in my opinion. For you to get a third force, the first thing is that you first of all need to get a very, very strong candidate. Could be from Ogun West. I don't want to name anybody's name, but put that strong candidate there. Bam, this is the candidate. You need to determine who the beneficiary of the top force is early enough, so that there will be minimal squabbling even after you have created that top force. The second thing you need to do is that you will need to go and head hunt and shop for political heavyweights in A and B and all of that to come and line behind that top force. Then you will need to find a substantial amount of money to do a ruthless marketing of the third force and of that money. Then you will need to create a gap of this is the one man that we all believe is better than the others when we do a comparative metrics of let us do them. So until you are able to get that, you won't get a third force. Look, if Senator Ebikun Amosun, with the greatest respect to His Excellency the Governor of Ogun State, if he had been the candidate of the then ACN in 2007, who told you they won't win? We don't know that. But he tried to do top force then himself. He went to start doing APP and he could do then structures, political structures.
Okay, maybe that's what he learned for in 2011.
So he learned, and then and then we too. It's not the lessons is not only on his side. The PDP, or well, those of them that went to PPN at that time, also experimented it. It didn't work.
But again, because we have to take this break quickly. With events today, all this argument, awareness, consciousness, who will carry the people in 2019, the party or the candidate?
Both. So the candidates themselves, they should not make themselves seem like some kind of superhuman people. Each and every one of them have flaws. Their names are not written on the ballot boxes. It is political parties that are voted for. So it is a good candidate with a good structure and all of the workings getting done in a party that will help. There's nothing we can do that would say that the two big parties will not be great drivers and strong players in the next election.
Becomes governor. All right, if you're just joining us, this is Citizens Forum on the Daybreak Show. This beautiful Tuesday morning, we have in the studio Segun Sowunmi, a political stalwart, talking about the PDP, a former special advisor to the governor of Ogun State, former DG on the presidential campaign of the PDP also in the state. And we are looking at Ogun Central Senatorial District and the case for that district producing the next governor of Ogun State in 2019. You can start sending your questions, messages to 32120. Type rock, leave a space, type your message, include your name, and send to the short code. You can also join us on Twitter at RockCityFM is our Twitter handle. Our Facebook fan page remains RockCityFM 101.9. After the national news, we'll be back.
All right, thank you for still being there. Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM. January 23, Tuesday 2018, Citizens Forum this morning, looking at another angle towards the race for Kemoson 2019, the Ogun Central position. And with us, it's a public analyst, politician, Segun Sowunmi. A lot has been said in the first half. This time, we'll permit you to also hear your own position on the different issues so far raised.
All right, if you want to be part of the show, you can call the studio line. It's 0809-868-7344 or 0909-146-967.
Yes, okay. I'll start from the reverse. Mr. Kawadi, thank you very much. You see, when I get invited to programs, especially in Ogun State, one of the things I always do to myself is that over and above the fact that I'm a politician in PDP, that people know me, I try to be a bit like a statesman. Because I always understand that after all said and done, whoever is governing Ogun State is governing all of us, and whatever he does is doing for all of us. That's what used to guide how I speak. Of course, nobody can install G in Ogun State. We have tried it before, it will not work. Ogun State is one of the most sophisticated locations where politics is done in Nigeria. I can wager a bet on it. If the process that throws up the candidates from any of the parties, especially the ruling party is one that usually have that problem of that toga. If the ruling party does not ensure that a great number of their own followers can buy into the process that produces the candidate, they can forget it, because what they will have is protest rules and implosion. They can come and ask PDP, we can share them the manual of what happened to us. That's that. So there's no room for stoogie. Let us give it to Jewa. I am an advocate of equity. I started by telling you that my party has done it twice, and we are not saying we will not consider it again. But what we are saying is that it is time now to begin to look for quality. But I am not in any way suggesting that some of the best materials are not in Yewa. I know a few of them. I've told you one or two that are very good. I've tried not to push anybody's agenda over and above the other person by being a little bit circumspect in the choice of word. I am for anything that will give Ogun State progress. We are only analyzing what will be the role of Ogun Central. And I still insist, Ogun Central is sufficiently sitting pretty in such a way that wherever they decide to put their own vote may win. It does not mean I am advocating that after an Egba man, another Egba man should go there. That will not be right. Even for Ogun Central, it will pit us against the other tribe needlessly. We don't need to become a Fulani of Ogun State that everybody will be hating us for no just cause. So that's my position on that. But we must be careful to run away from excessive parochialism. It is excessive parochialism when you are thinking about governance from the point of view of when I become governor, all I'll be doing is what is in my own central district, or for my people, or for my family, or for my brothers, or my son. That is madness. No nation develops that way. You have to do development in a manner that every part of the state will be given an opportunity to contribute the best and to feel inclusive as part of that entity. PDP and opposition work. May God Almighty help the drivers and the leaders of the party who have been given responsibility. You are all witnesses to the effort that I put in. It is unless you are given a responsibility, you can't do it on their behalf. Even at that, I've tried the best I can, and I believe we'll continue to try. And I believe that PDP elements and their leadership too, they are listening. Therefore, they should know that you cannot be in opposition party and not do opposition job and expect politicians or the people or the citizens to come and vote for you in an election. So we will try our best to improve. We will speak to them. After all, I offered myself to be their spokesperson. They didn't give me. What can I do? So they will have to carry on the burden that they know. I will do the bit I can underneath the circumstances. Then Big Daddy, non-political and political actor. It is true. I thank you for your comment. There is no way we can be saying, that's one of the issues when we say somebody that has quality. Everybody has quality. You have, I have, Big Daddy, you have. But the thing is that, why, if anybody wants to be governor of Ogun State today now, you should minimally know us in Ogun State. You should know Ogun State. You should know the people. You should know where they are. You should know, are you governing according to what you think the people want? Or have you consulted the people to know exactly what is their desires? There are locations in Ogun State, in the hinterlands of where their issue is water. You have not done that for them. There are education where their issues are road, even to stabilize their rural road. So for you to govern Ogun State well and to make the people of Ogun State happy with governance, it's not enough to be doing esoteric governance of only things that could make people clap for the meantime. It has to be a bit more thought through, and therefore a candidate of that nature will be good. Mr. Ankon, morality. I wish that you were correct this time, my dear Dr. Ankon. You are not. Morality will be the first thing to be thrown out of the table when the final decisions are going to be made. And I took time to explain to you that these things are in processes. The very first is that anybody can aspire coming out from himself, his house, and do whatever he can to further his aspiration. But that because we are not doing independent candidate just yet, we are running under parties. The people must still subject themselves to the processes and the nuances of their parties to be able to emerge candidate. And then I am admonishing, and strongly too, that please, Nigerians and people of Ogun State, let us not be destroying the political parties at every round of selection of candidates. We need to become a strong and stable democracy so that this democracy can carry us for a long time. We need two, at least minimum two or maximum maybe three strong parties that can be contending with ideology. Politics needn't be so pedestrian and so base. Sometimes I get very disappointed that those of them trying to be governors for now. I can't see the fire of, hope, or this is what we're going to do. They are not hearing their policy on education. You are not hearing them on healthcare. You are not hearing them on urbanization. You are not hearing them on inclusive government. You are not hearing them on local government administration. You are not hearing them on social safety net. There are too many things that they can speak about to win the heart of the electorate. All they are bothering themselves with is let them come and be anointed, either because of the ruling parties. The advantage any ruling party will have to anoint somebody, and then when they anoint them, then suddenly they become king. That's not how to do it. And the ones that are not in the ruling party, some of them are living on their past narrative. They need to re-examine things. If they have been doing the work of the main opposition leadership, would they be struggling for platform now? Obviously not. And the main opposition is said, our candidates we were just sitting down pretty. That's how APC did. They waited for us to pick a candidate, and then so that's going on there. But for me, as a person, we need to interrogate the issues more. We have now seen that there is no one Messiah that can solve all our problems, and that if we hang on to only one attribute, we may not get the governance we desire. What's going on in Nigeria is enough evidence of that. Therefore, we must extract the issues more. We must question them more. We must participate as citizens. We must do our role. I am begging, join political parties, because that's where this whole thing starts. They would have picked all the candidates before they get to the electorate. Bitter rivalry, PDP and all that. I believe that at the leadership level, the Seriaki Diskin panel for reconciliation will be trying his best to do it. And I believe that now we have a chairmanship in Secondus. All the issues are behind us. That's PDP for you. We have gone there to say we wanted the chairmanship in the Southwest. Anyway, somebody from the South in Secondus, total chairman, has won. We have all given him our support. We are waiting to see how he wants to drive the process. I am more for an agenda-driven process than for us to be over-personalizing issues. And that is the way it will go. I hope that enlightened self-interest will help the PDP to close ranks, come together, and do the duty they are supposed to do. A political party is not formed only for the purpose of being in government. A political party is formed mainly to be constantly interrogating the issues. When they are in government, they will be the one delivering on the issues. When they are outside government, they will be the one challenging those that are in government and providing alternatives. I hate people who come to public space only to criticize. That's not my style. I will always tell you, this is what I don't agree with, this is what I think we should do. Because what is the point if all you are going to be doing is no, everything is bad, and you are not providing alternative? That means that even if they gave you the responsibility, like we are seeing now in the national, they said everything is bad about PDP, they've been given the responsibility. Now look at the lives of the Nigerians.
All right, let's take them.
So yes, now help. We should help them Yewa to headhunt. Yeah, I've said again, Yewa people, Yewa candidates need to move in more into Ogun Central. At least for now, it seems as if Ogun Central is not exactly handling to be governor. So okay, the Jebus want to have, the Ogun East want to have it. Good for them. Let Ogun East people come and meet us in Central, plead their case, encourage or tell us why we should go with them. And Yewa people who are most deserving in any case can also do the same. But if anybody sits in the comfort of his house in some locations and thinks that because of that Ogun Central people, we the Egbas will not get up the money, we are not going to embarrass our son. No. I can tell you the truth. Everything that is on the table after I said that, no, Ogun Central, you people cannot be parochial in your Ogun West, be parochial in your Ogun East, and then you come and tell us the Egbas not to be parochial here. We will be equitable. We will be open to follow you, but not at the expense of our own children. No father does that, and we are not going to be bastards. Not today, not tomorrow, not in the future.
All right, so this one says, Mr. Show me which analysis. It seems you worked for the opposition party in 2011 and 2015 election because the candidate of the opposition party is from Ogun Central. Okay.
Did you got that?
Yes,
Okay,
I
you
heard
say,
it.
Abiodun from Abiokta says, your analysis may sound as nonsense to many people in Ogun State, but all what you are saying sound to me as sense out of the nonsense. In PDP, now is the time to present candidate from Ogun Central, no excuse. In APC, they can present candidate from Yowa Ijebu, no excuse. Sir, to zone candidates to certain areas, is it in the Nigerian constitution, birthright, or could only be regarded as just a gentleman agreement? Moshood says some people have started asking masses for their permanent voters card as an assurance of the party in question of the people's loyalty. I think the political party in question is playing on the masses' intelligence with an exchange of plastics of rice. The masses should please not cheapen themselves and wise up. Elective polls at all levels, federal, state, or local governments and others, be based on the most qualified, reliable, and credible candidates, not being based on certain areas which has been marginalized and must produce the next governor president. After all, no section was ever banned from contesting election and elective polls since 1999. Yewa Axis has been contesting for governorship. Igbos have been contesting for president, but they never won. Whose fault is this? Ade is asking that question. Good morning, my big uncle and guest. If I may ask, zoning arrangement, is it in the Nigerian constitution or political constitution? That's from Bola.
But straight away, that's just for political conveniency. For
it is not enshrined in the constitution.
Yes, it's not a constitution.
All right, Kadori says, I asked Segun Sowunmi, one, do you agree that the APC and the PDP have completely failed the people? What is your take? Two, that you foresee any political party that rely on the strength and power of incumbency failing woefully at the 2019 general elections, except for only individuals who are coming up with ethics and moral qualifications. Three, that do you foresee a situation where we have passed the stage of voting for political parties now due to the loss of confidence in those parties and stuff, but now the time is due for emergence of individuals? That's Kadoli. Please, Mr. Segun Sowunmi, can't PDP seat the Ogun West ticket to GNI for a higher probability of winning the governorship election? Kayode from Rwanda sent in that. Ikechukwu Olisa says, for how long should we continue to eat bread as if there is bone inside? The people are yet to see the Messiah they will vote for because they have the final say, no matter all speculations by the politicians. It is now clear that the political class will win an election in 2019 depending on what and who the party presents, not by the popularity of the party, as some people think. Okay, Governor Musa is entitled to his own candidate in all elective polls from wherever, but doesn't mean winning automatically. Other political parties are on ground. Who says they can win too? And power belongs to God and to the people, not to any governor or individual. And to correct the man in the studio last week, FEDECO, INEC, federal government never pronounced in our constitution that any position be shifted to a particular region in the country. That's Andy sending that message. Please, PDP should consider Yewa again, for God's sake. That's MOK from Ayodo. All right, let's quickly go to the tweet also. I hope the time will permit. So many tweets this morning. This one from Kole Gab says, should this be a yardstick for not picking your party candidate from Ogun West? I think you should have a rethink. Ogun West should get it by God's grace. Ogun West should listen and learn from what Segun Sowunmi is saying this morning. If care is not taken, they will lose it. Professor Bola AA says, why are we going back and forth? Yewa lost the opportunities during OGD's government. Yewa elders are the problems, and they remain the problem. Zechariah Olubayo tweeted this, but this time around, we need good people to participate in Nigerian politics. But that is what is going on in Nigerian politics. Ismail Oloyede says, for the sake of equity, fairness, and good conscience, I think Ogun Central should rather support the aspiration of Ogun West come 2019. I can only hope that the Ogun West themselves can put their house in order and they can be sure of the support of Central come 2019. Professor Agbolaye, once again, political dynamics in the state will not simply allow Yewa to produce governor come 2019, except all parties choose Yewa candidate. How are we so sure that APC will remain in power come 2019? Anybody can choose anointed candidate from Yewa, but the people, we, shall decide. Unique Adiba says this one is a qualified politician, unlike those that were brought from West. Sir, will you produce candidates from Central, or you're also in support of West because you've been seen a man from East at the forefront of the PDP? I want your stand on this. Did you get that?
I did.
Ismail Oloyede says it's always a pleasure listening to Segun Sowunmi, ever articulate and cerebral. It is very unfortunate that someone like you is not feeling among the progressives in the States. It's never too late, though. You are still young, vibrant, and full of potential. Good luck, sir. That's Ismail Oloyede's opinion. Yemi Phillips Da Vinci says, I am ashamed that identity politics has taken a center stage of the discussion surrounding the next Ogun governor, and not their fiscal strategy and their vision for the state. One thing that fascinates me with identity politics is the underlying belief that all Nigerian politicians are nepotistic to their people when they are just nepotistic to their pockets. Okay, we still have more tweets. This one is just rolling in. It's one Oloyede says Section 4, Subsection 3, as well as Section 14, Subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution, in the name of the federal character and fair play, advocate that powers should be shared on the basis of equity, particularly in ensuring the recognition of the diversities of our society and the need to ensure balance. Yehuda Venture once again says, let an Egbado man with a Jabu mother and Egba wife be chosen by all political parties, so we can move on to more important issues like perennial portable water shortage in Ogun State and why our inner city roads are bad. When you shout Ogun West or East in 2019, then we must shout about the chances of people who have stayed over 20 years in Ogun. They also deserve a chance. So I say Dr. Oncom for Governor 2023. All right? That's Yemi Phillips Da Vinci. Because of our time,
let me run through them. Well, thank you very much, all our listeners. It's been quite engaging, and I'm very happy. Always ever excited to come, and you guys, thank you. No one in his right senses who is fair-minded will not worry about this tripod: Ogun East, Ogun West, Ogun Central. How do we live with ourselves, knowing fully well that Ogun West has not been able to produce governor here? It is a pitiable argument, but it's not a sufficient enough argument for why every other senatorial district must jettison the aspiration. Fact of the matter is that we, in the PDP that I know of, that I'm a part of, that I participated in, we have given Ogun West the candidacy twice. And every available resource within our power was provided for them. They had absolute rights on their senatorial district because they are the owners of that senatorial district. It was their right to choose. How do we even know how they will play going forward? Politicians can say what. So we will look at it. I'm not the one that will decide for the party. I don't have that power. And when it is their time, they will take the right decision. I pray that God will guide them in taking the best decision for Ogun State. As for the APC, which is the main opposition now, they are in the eye of the storm. We were there in the build-up to 2011. We too, we were screaming, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. The electorate sat back in the corner and took their decision, and we are all living with the decision, which is that they gave the governorship to an Ogun Central man. Same thing may play out if they balkanize their party. I'm not a member of the APC, but I don't want them to balkanize their party because it has taken such a long time for us to get an alternative political voice to PDP. So I don't want them to balkanize their APC because of purely ambitious related issues. I expect them to keep their own house together. We had the benefit of being around for almost 20 years now as a political party with one name, with one symbol, with stretching into every nooks and cranny. We have people in every ward, every polling booth that have always been PDP, that have never moved. Some move, yes, but at least there are people that are PDP. We want an APC too that will stand the test of time, so that we will say that the way you go to America and say, if the Republicans are not winning, the Democrats are winning. And the way you go to London and say, if Labour is not winning, Conservative is winning. The way you go to Germany and say, if the Christian Democratic is not winning, the Socialists are winning. That's the same way we must wish for our own country. We cannot be a nation where every 4 years because of the lack of management of the so-called progressive elements, inability to keep their party going, they will keep changing their name and keep messing up things. It's not easy. Everybody in PDP too, we have been suffering too. Some of us have not got anything that can make anybody excessively excited. But we are here so that the party can stand. APC people too should stand. Only one man can be governor per time. It is their own problem if they run a government that is not all-inclusive. If most of their followers are feeling unhappy, they have to solve that problem. They have another opportunity now. They should strengthen their party so that Nigeria democracy in the overall can be better. No man can be governor forever and ever. And I believe, as somebody wanted to know what my views are that of my political party. If my political party zones governorship to anywhere in Nigeria, in fact, they zone it to a minority, Dr. Uncom, because it's entitled to anybody that has been here for more than 10 years or 20 years. If they zone it to Uncom, my view will now be for us to see how we can make Uncom governor. So I cannot have a view over and above the view of where my political party is going. And I am saying, on behalf of PDP, and Nigeria, Ogun Central to be fair to us, we have tried and we have given tickets to Ogun West. I'm not saying we will not try it again, but I'm saying that for the ones that we have done, we should be commended. If the APC wants to give it to Ogun West or Ogun East, am I going to be part of people that will decide where their ticket is going? That's their own baby. But don't think that the PDP and the APC are both useless. No, our parties are only both developing. And all of us contributed some things. If you look at the PDP era, some mistakes were made, some things were contributed. In the APC era, some mistakes will obviously have been made and some things have been contributed. Let us learn to have the endurance of waiting for our systems to grow. That is the only way to get a stable democracy.
Let's see if we can take one call, just one.
Segun Sowunmi, I know in 2010 and 11, when Governor Musu wanted to contest, left the next day, you saw him. He knows what I'm saying. That's Bakari Ade sending that message. This other one says, well done, Segun Sowunmi. We should give it to Yewa in the spirit of fairness and equity and justice. This is a righteous thing to do amongst the three children of the same parents to guarantee peace, love, and sense of belonging. God bless Ogun State. That's Tundi Omolaolu. This one says, forget all these ideas. We need anyone who is qualified, even if the candidate is from Central. That's still Bakari Ade sending that message. Okay, I think.
All right, maybe you want to react to Ola Anubacham. To him, all the indicators in town is that Ogun Central may still vote en bloc.
Well, that's
not that. So if they are going to vote en bloc and like using your own words, you will never leave your own son. So the governor has decided to go to the west. So is that a decision that?
No. When I say we will.
Now I'm looking at Oladma.
Yes, I know. I want to thank Mr. Oladma. The feelings are mutual. I thank you. May God bless you and keep you well. It's a yeoman job. We do it all the time so that everybody too can get energized and encouraged to do same. When I say we will not abandon or leave our own son, I'm speaking almost like a satire, in the sense that when you come and you bring the narrative around governance to the level where the only thing that is being discussed is from Ogun West, is from Ogun East, is from Ogun West, is from Ogun East, you then force us from Ogun Central to now look at ourselves and then ask ourselves that, okay, if our own son too now were to suddenly be qualified eminently, found the money to run the race and say he wants to be governor, if you are going to back your son, why shouldn't we back ours? That's number one. The second part of this is that why should we join hands with you to disgrace our own son that is on the saddle? It may not be easy for us to do that. We will not do that. You may say, they may say whatever, but the practicality is that it won't happen. I was the Director General of the opposition campaign in 2015 towards Ogun Central. I went everywhere with our candidate, and by every definition, she was a good material, very, very cerebral, absolutely well brought up and sparkling in terms of what I know she will be able to deliver. But you know what happened? We found out that Ogun Central people gave their vote to their son Amosun, and it had a multiplier effect on all the other votes. It wasn't like maybe we didn't struggle or we didn't try to get the vote, but you can't force people not to be parochial when you people are always constantly making the areas.
That's the point today, undoubtedly.
Yes.
It could be argued though, Senator Musu, the governor, is the #1 political leader in the state, in the central.
What about Chief Obasanjo? Is he there?
In the central today.
Obasanjo is in the central too.
Obasanjo is a leader, agreed.
Yes.
We all know that. But
Okay.
because of the incumbency factor and other political indices that Amosu can provide, which the general
Yes.
so and he has said this is where I'm going.
No. That's not leadership decision of that nature is always generated via a collegiate. No individual can appropriate the entire goodwill of a race to himself. Not even Senator Amosu. It is a collegiate decision that this is where the Egbas are going. And to get that our decision, people that want to be candidates will have to come and approach the Egbas. Is Amosu going to be the totality of Egba?
We must be worried that we must be ready to leave.
Because of our time, we may not be able to continue with the messages and the calls. But trust us, we want you to continue this conversation. On Twitter, the conversation continues. At Roxy FM is the Twitter handle. And of course, for those who may want to reach out to us after this
or be a part of the discussion is continuing.
It is continuing. You can just make sure you send your numbers. The conversation is also going on WhatsApp, so you can continue the discussion. You can send the numbers to 32120. Just indicate your name and your number, all parliamentarians, so that we can continue this discussion on the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much, Segun Sowunmi, for being part of our show.
And of course, you are always exciting to have you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, everybody. May God give us the best in 2019.
All right. Tomorrow we'll continue this fresh topic. Really, another painful topical debate in the country. How safe are we from the hands of these herdsmen? We'll be here looking at the economic and the security side of the herdsmen menace on the citizens. From Dele, Ayodo is my name. I say God bless you all. God bless Nigeria and God bless Rock City.
And I am Tobi Joseph. Have a wonderful Tuesday.